Hope everyone's doing well out there. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified of more videos as I post them. Also, please do check out the comments in the description section below, because I do use that as well to add some more information about the things that I'm talking about. So let's get started. This is the Monitor Audio Bronze 500. This is a 2.5-way speaker design. And first I want to show you the back of it, because the back is nice. It has the dual binding posts, so you could bi-amp it, and they're right here, and they're really nice and solid, really nice, strong feeling posts. So you don't really have to worry about them. Sometimes some of those posts, they feel really cheap. They feel like they're loose and falling off, but these are really solid. Also, you got 2 ports here in the rear. They're kind of small ports. I can really just stick 2 fingers in there. You can see that's about how wide it is. So that's pretty much all there is to say about the back. The style of it is nice. It has a real IKEA type of feel about it. So I think if you like furniture from a store like that, or some of the other places that sell similar looking furniture, I think that this speaker might blend in well. I like the color of it. The only problem with it is the front, which is a gray. Online it looks much more whitish looking, and this gray is pretty much the same exact color as my walls. So it kind of gets lost in it. I think if your house has walls that are white or so, I think this would really stand out nicely. But in here, the gray color kind of kills it. I do appreciate this tweeter in the back here. It looks kind of nice. It's on a gold tweeter, and I like the color of these woofers as well. Now I'm going to talk about the specifications. So let's see, this is the Bronze 500. This is a 2.5-way speaker design. So with a 2.5-way, what happens is this. It's essentially a 2-way speaker system that's just kind of built upon the 2-way design. So the halfway is kind of a addition to it. So let me just kind of explain this a bit. Let's say the manufacturer, if this was a 2-way, where's the crossover here? I think they put the crossover somewhere. Okay, so the crossover on the 500, it looks like it's set to 2.5 kilohertz. Okay, so it looks like 2.5 kilohertz is the crossover, so it's right here. Okay, so everything that's above 2.5 kilohertz is going to go to this tweeter. Everything that's below is going to go down here. Now, one of these is going to get the full range. Okay, now it looks like possibly 550 hertz. I believe this speaker is going to be filtered where anything under 550 hertz is going to go here. Okay, because that's what I'm reading off of this thing, the 2.5-way design. Of course, it has 2.7 kilohertz, and then it has 550 hertz. So, maybe I'm wrong, but that looks like that's what this is saying here. So, potentially, all the frequencies above 550 hertz are going to be totally filtered out, whereas this is going to accept all the frequencies all the way up to the 2.7 kilohertz where the cutoff is. Okay, so this one is only getting 550 hertz and under, because the purpose of the 2.5-way is the halfways are typically there to reinforce the lower bass. If there was another driver in here, then it probably wouldn't be set to 500 hertz or 550 hertz, whatever this was again. It would be set much lower. Maybe it would be set to 150 hertz and under, or whatever the manufacturer chooses to do in order to strengthen those lower frequencies. Okay, so the speaker is rated at 8 ohms, and on the lower end, 4.3 ohms. Let's see, the power handling. No, excuse me, 4.1 ohms. I was reading the Bronze 150. 4.1 ohms is the low, 8 ohms is the high end. The power handling, the RMS is 200 watts on this. They recommend 60 to 200 watts for the speaker. I don't think I would run this that low. I ran this with the Onkyo at 120 watts, the RZ840, and I ran this with the Marantz 7013, which is 125 watts, and I don't think I would want less power than that, because I do feel like the tweeter is a bit stronger than the woofers, but I'm gonna get into that. Let's see what else is important off of this thing. Okay, so the weight of this, it's only 39 pounds, so it's not very heavy. You know, somebody like me where the back isn't so great anymore, I do appreciate something like this because I could still move it around without potentially getting hurt. It's not like a 70-pound speaker where I'm kind of in trouble if I try to move it around and I do something wrong. So that's the good thing about it. The overall frequency response of this, it's rated at 32 hertz in the bass to 30 kilohertz. Now the rating is for plus or minus 6 decibels, okay? So remember that, plus or minus 6 decibels. So it's probably safe to say that at plus or minus 3 decibels, you know, it's probably more around 40 hertz or so on the bass, on the low end, okay? Because you gotta subtract some. And that's just off the top of my head. Now, let me get my notes. This is the grill, okay? So you gotta just line it up right. You can see the spacing difference, and it uses magnets, so it just pops on like that. Pretty easy overall, and it feels strong, the magnets as well. Because I have this in my hand, I want to point this out. I think that if the tweeter sounds a bit bright with the grill off, put the grill on. Because I do think that there's a difference in the sound with the grill on. I think the grill helps to take away just a little bit of that brightness or that sharpness at times. So just, you know, keep that in mind if you have the speaker or you're thinking about it. The first thing that comes to mind if I was going to be explaining this speaker to somebody would be, it loves the bass guitars. I don't think I've heard a bass guitar sound so good as with this speaker. I mean, it really sounds great. And especially at this price point, I believe that this thing typically sells for around $750 or so. But you know, you could pick it up for $650 on sales, you know, stuff like that. So I mean, of course, I would wait for the sale on it. But it does. I mean, it sounds fantastic. Like the bass guitars sound amazing. As an example, I played Korn through it. Korn uses a lot of bass guitar to really just lead the charge in their songs. They also tend to shoot a lot of like low bass into a speaker, so I think that Korn with the bass guitar sounded great. I also put on Mudvayne, the LD50 album in particular. There's just a lot of bass guitar coming through, that bang, 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 bang sound. Just really sounds just really sharp, and you know, that was my best impersonation of the bass guitar. You know what I mean? It goes bang, 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 bang. You know, so this speaker just loves the bass guitar. It just totally loves it. I mean, bass guitars sound great. I think that this type of speaker sounds great with music that's jazz music, stuff like that. Because it does have the two 8-inch woofers, it is pretty good in the bass, but you know, the placement is going to affect it, so I'm going to get into that. The voices on this speaker are also very clear. I found that the voices really kind of shine right through. Sometimes the voices, though, seem like they have a bit of an edge on them, though. And I think that when I put the grill on, I think it just kind of helped to take away a bit of that, sometimes maybe a bit of like a sharpness to the voices, okay? But I think connecting this, connecting this to a receiver that's a warm receiver is a good choice. I don't think that connecting this to a receiver that's cool sounding or very bright sounding, I don't think this is the speaker for that, because I think that this tweeter is just too crisp of a tweeter for that. So I like the sound of this when I hook this up to the Marantz 7013 that I have in the other room. I also like it with carpeting, in a room with carpeting. I found it to be better than in a room like this where there's just a lot of echo and it's just, you know, so ridiculously bright. The placement. I'm going to say that you'd want to pull this about 8 to 12 inches away from the walls. I did really appreciate it placed in corners though. Corner placement is, I think, where it really shined for me. I didn't care for it as much out in the room like this. I thought it was kind of losing its bass. I think that this is one speaker that it works best in corners. And you know, that's just my opinion. I know that opinions are going to vary because let's face it, we all have our own taste. You know, what you hear and what I hear are two different things, and all of us are going to have different equipment, different room acoustics, all that great stuff. I put in Fear Factory. If you ever listen to Fear Factory, then one of the things that probably comes to mind is the drums. I mean, it sounded great with the speaker. The Monitor Bronze, the drums from Fear Factory really sounded good. The 2 8-inch along with the ports in the rear, it sounded good. The drums sounded nice and tight and crisp. I didn't feel like, you know, the speaker was lagging, okay? The tweeter, which is back here, it definitely has an airy sound about it. It definitely has an open, spacious sound to it. It's not the type of tweeter that really sounds narrow and like it's coming straight at you. This is more so a tweeter that's very spread out. So I would not put this in a small room. I don't think this is a good speaker for a small room. And when I say a small room, like a 10 by 10 or maybe a 10 by 13, I think the room size would probably at the minimum, you'd want to be in something that's like a 20 by 15 or something larger. You know, and that's because of this tweeter, the way it's designed. Let's see. Acoustic music, jazz music, acoustic music. I think, again, this speaker sounds great with that. Acoustic, jazz, instrumentals, stuff like that. Back to the tweeter, I do have a concern though, without the grill, would be for dust, okay? Because if dust gets in here, I mean, how do you get it out? You have to take a vacuum and try to suck it out with the hose. But, I mean, overall with this mesh, you know, these holes are big enough for it to get dusty, I'm sure, one day. And I don't think that you'd want dust on here, and then you could try to blow it out, but without being able to like physically wipe the tweeter down or take like a little Q-tip to it or something to kind of just, you know, get the dust off. You know, I don't know, potentially in the future there might be dust. I think it would have been great if there was a way to like if this was on here with like a rubber seal, and you could just take this and turn this and pop it off. I think that would be great. You know, maybe I'm you know, kind of looking a little too far into it, but it's definitely something that I thought about. If the grill is on, I don't think that there'll be any issue because the grill is nice and tight and snug, so I wouldn't be worried about the dust with the grill. Sometimes there was some songs that I listened to that just didn't sound too great, so I highly suggest going through your music collection after the speaker has already been used for a good 15-20 hours or more, and listen to it. See if everything that you listen to sounds good to you on this speaker, okay? At times, the bass is just, in my opinion, needs to be a little bit louder to support this type of tweeter, okay? So, again, listen to all your music, make sure you enjoy it. I would consider a subwoofer with it, of course, but I mean, it doesn't really need a subwoofer, but a subwoofer would be nice just to help with some of the lower end. It does have some good bass though, it definitely has some good bass, so don't think it doesn't. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.